Thank you all for joining us. Um, a warm welcome to you all on this very hot and sunny day. I'm literally in my room trying to cope with this heat. I'm joined by Conrad today. Hey, Conrad, how are you?
Hello everyone. Hello Lawrence. All is good. Yeah, the heat is very bad where I am also, but I'm not complaining. I love the heat.
It's true. It's true. Okay, let's get into this. So, just to mention, we'll do a few introductions actually. That's probably the best way to start with. So, hi, my name is Lawrence, and I'm the CEO of Happy to Host Education. And this webinar is and I'm also joined by Conrad. Conrad, sorry, introduce yourself. That was very rude of me.
Yeah, you're going too fast, mate, isn't it? Yeah, my name is Conrad. I'm the head of business learning and technology at City of Wolverhampton College, and I'm happy to be here to share some knowledge with you today.
Brilliant. Thank you, Conrad. Just a quick overview on this session. So this session is brought to you by obviously Happy to Host, but we did this in partnership with a very special group that's close to my heart, and I've worked with them for the last 5 years, and that's the Black Leadership Group. And one of the goals that we have of working together is to demystify AI and show how everyone can access it because it's not equal to everyone. There's always been a gap in terms of technology when it comes from underserved communities. And just on that note, I'd love to bring on Stella for a couple of minutes to explore what the Black Leadership Group is and what they do. So let's bring Stella onto stage. Hello, Stella.
Hello, Stella.
Hi, Lawrence. Hi, Conrad. I'm delighted to be here with two of my favorite people. We've worked together, as Lawrence said, for 5 years. I'm Stella Mbubebu. I'm one of the directors and co-founders of the Black Leadership Group, working today with Happy to Host Education to bring this webinar close to our hearts. Black Leadership Group is all about eradicating racism. We are building and working across the UK, the 4 nations, to eradicate racism and to bring the very best that we can in terms of anti-racist thought and action to make the most of an ethnically diverse Britain. And one clear way of doing this is to demystify, as Lawrence has inferred, artificial intelligence and what comes with it to our diverse communities. Because there can easily arise more discrimination, more prejudice, more racist action if Black communities, Asian communities, do not get involved with this new world of artificial intelligence. It is absolutely vital that we all keep up with what's going on, so we can spot where prejudice exists, so we can spot where discrimination exists, so we can be part of the moving forward and accessing artificial intelligence, AI, for good things, whether it's in health, whether it's in education, in all these domains, all the professions, that we are there across communities, across the conversations, the ethical considerations, the legal considerations, as well as using AI for our own purposes and our own good, whether in the workplace, whether it's in our lives in the community, and whether it's for creativity and whatever we might want to do. Today, I was in a webinar that talked about the developing AI chasm. We don't want to fall into that crack, and that's why I'm absolutely delighted that we bring that lens, that black lens as we call it, to the work, and we gain from it. I think it's important for me just to say, because sometimes I do stumble over this, that The Black Leadership Group uses Black as an inclusive definition for all those who share a lived experience of the effects of racism. That's me done, Lawrence. Thank you for this opportunity to work together on a new and exciting venture.
Thank you so much, Stella. And it's always a pleasure to work with you. And hopefully, this is the first of many webinars that we put on, because we ultimately believe that one webinar is not going to solve everything. It's about ongoing training and getting the right access to the right people with technology. So thank you, Stella. I'm going to pop you backstage, and yeah, maybe you'll be around for the question and answers at the end if there's any questions that come up. And also, we'll do a follow-up link to how you can join the Black Leadership Group as well. Thank you, Stella. So what's coming up today in today's webinar? So let's have a look at this. So what's coming up today is, first, we're going to look at what is AI. We're then going to look at what are the benefits of AI and how AI can make life easier. And then I think probably the most important thing that I hope you take away from this is actually how to prompt right in using AI. We'll take you from a basic prompt to a more advanced prompt to get out of there. Just in the chat, if you could say yes or no. Yes if you've used AI, just a simple yes, and no if you've not used AI. That'd be very handy just to get an idea of what people are starting from. And then we'll be around for question and answers at the end. And I just skipped over one. There'll be a live demo too, obviously. Nope. Okay, so they're coming through. Nope. Okay. So hopefully at the end of this webinar, you will get an idea of maybe how you might use it. And if you are using it, you might be able to use it better with this instructions that we will give you. So why are we here? So research showed over the last year, AI could save the average worker. And when I saw this, I was like, whoa, the average worker could save 100 hours per year. Now, if AI could actually help you with that, why wouldn't you use it? So 100 hours, just think about that per year. What could you do with those 100 hours? How could you what would you do with that time gained back? So I'm going to hand over to Conrad, who's just going to quickly go through where AI is showing up. Sorry, Conrad, you're on mute.
And
sorry.
just to say, for anyone who've actually used AI before, as we go through the session, if you see where you can contribute in the chat about how you're using it, please do so. We're all here to collaborate in this case. Yeah. Now, listen. While the arrival of AI might not seem sudden to some, it has been around for a long time. Yeah, it has been around for a good while. In fact, it has been solving many of our small challenges. So you might already have interacted with AI in one way or another in this case. For example, Google Photos includes the magic eraser feature, which uses machine language to detect distraction in your photos. For example, as you can see there, if somebody's in your background, you can actually use the eraser to get rid of those in this case. Therefore, clean up your photos for those perfect family shots in this case. And that is just one example of what AI is actually doing for us right now. So that's a good example there. Removing those distractions. Let's move on from there, Lawrence. Another method that you might be thinking about is, what else? Tools like Canva. What challenge is it facing? AI is actually already solving those small challenges. Tools like Canva, Adobe Firefly. If you never heard of these, please do go and research some of these tools in this case. These tools, Canva is actually free and some commercial there, but you can actually do a lot in Canva, and it does give you some AI features. So do go and have a try. But tools like Canva, Adobe Firefly allow you to create images just from text. Bring your images to life. So it's your creativity. What you've got up here, you can actually put it on within the screen, and it actually generate that image for you in this case. And that's as easy as that. And that's what AI is doing for us today in this case, bringing those imagination, creativity to life in this case, just from a prompt. Now, if I was to move on in this case, another thing that you will see is that AI is actually your Spotify. Now we all listen to those music, and for example, Spotify product like Spotify do uses artificial intelligence. It uses AI. It uses AI to understand your type of music, your taste, and all. Like, as you can see, it does recommend songs, artists, and give you playlists that you might like. That's all done with AI. You might not notice, but it is. AI is detecting all of those in this case. So for those of you who haven't encountered or used AI, you're using it on a day-to-day basis with a lot of things around us today as we move along there. Another thing that AI is actually helping us with is, and this is a big one basically, it's really a big one. Google is actually working with clinicians, patients, and partners like the NHS, three NHS trusts to build AI systems for mammography, which could help radiologists detect breast cancer more accurately, more speedier, and more consistent. Now, see, so for me, AI is there with as a tool that can help us along the way, basically. For example, here, speeding up those tests for breast cancer. And that's one of the biggest things for us. As I said, it's one of the big ones. So today, we're going to show you quite a few more things that AI can help us with. So let's move on. Let's move on and say, what is AI? So Lawrence, where do we go with here? You're on mute.
There we go. I do know how to use streaming. Well, just looking at this, let's dive into what is AI. Let's forget about the complicated jargon here. You know, we hear everyone is using it and it's the robots, they're going to take over. But actually, the simplest way to think of this is AI as your super smart assistant that you have around with you, that you can travel around and do things for you. The assistant can help you do three things. It can learn from a vast amount of information that you would not be able to do in any quick time. It can understand your questions and requests, which we call prompts, and we'll go into detail about that a bit later. And it can create brand new things. For example, it could help you with your emails, an idea for a birthday party, or a summary of a long article, or a PDF. If you've got this massive PDF, you could upload it and then actually get learning from it quickly. Today, we're going to be focusing on generative AI. These are the tools like you may have heard, Gemini, ChatGPT, and amongst others that will actually help us with the conversation that we're having today. And like I said, we will get to the demo, but we feel it's important that we give you the foundations and how to use it responsibly as well to demystify the bits that might be a bit scary, that it's going to take all your information. Just remember this, if you don't remember anything at all, you are in charge of what you put into AI. Okay, so you have that control. So AI. Let's break down the jargon. Let's actually talk about what it is. So, in simple terms, artificial intelligence is machine exhibiting human-like intelligence, whilst machine learning is how AI learns. Remember the key word there, human-like intelligence. We're not saying it is a human. It's like intelligence, so it's taking it from us. Then you can think of machine learning as like a subset of artificial intelligence. These are the key things to think about while we interact with technology and we show you how to use it. Over to you, Conrad. Sorry, Conrad, you're on mute as well now.
I tell you, right? We do know how to use StreamYard. So let's stick with that analogy, basically, as you just indicated. Now, just for you to get an understanding of AI. Now, imagine you're hiring a human assistant, okay? You're hiring someone there. On your first day, would you actually say, do my work? Well, they don't know much about your work yet, so they need to get to know you. And this is where, when it comes to AI, in order for you to get the best output, you need to give them clear, specific instruction to get the job done right. AI is exactly the same, basically. Clear, guided instruction of what you want. The better the instruction, the better the results. And that's what we're trying to go for today, is to give you an idea as to what about prompting, because you got to give it clear, guided instruction. And just like a great assistant, learn your preferences over time. AI can get better as helping you. So as you start using AI, it gets to learn the way how you work, what instruction you give, and start giving you more meaningful instruction towards you in this case. But as Lauren said earlier on, the most important thing to remember that you are always the boss. That's it. You are always the boss. You give it instruction, you check the work, and you decide what to do with it in this case. In other words, you are in control, and that's the main thing to remember. You are in control at any one time. So, what about the concerns? We might be talking about the concerns basically. Yep. Now, you heard about AI, you heard people saying AI is biased, AI is this. Yes, there are concerns. Now that we know the headlines that AI can bring some valid concern, we're going to look at two of these basically biggest ones. One, first, will AI take my jobs? It's a very common fear. We know that for definite. We encourage you to see AI not as a replacement, but as a tool, like a calculator or a computer. It's a tool that we use, basically. It's here to help you handle those repetitive, time consuming tasks, freeing you to focus on the part of your job that requires your human skills, such as creativity, strategy, and empathy. That is the main thing there. Second, let's look at the second one. Is my data safe? This is a really important question when you do look at it. The golden rule is simple. Think before you share. Always think before you share. Don't put any sensitive personal information like your home address, bank account details, or confidential work data into public AI tool. And I repeat that, do not share this information into any public AI tools. There are tools out there like Google, if you paid for the version there, enterprise version, Copilot enterprise version, those are protected in this case. So if you're going to look at any AI tool to put your data in, please read those privacy notice in this case. But remember, with all these tools, you are in control of what you share. And that is the main thing to remember. You are in control. Now, obviously, with these tools, there might be some limitations also. So, Lawrence, what limitations are there?
Okay, thank you for that, Conrad. Like, I love technology, but there's always limitations on this. And I'm actually going to just zoom in here to make it a bit bigger so you can actually see this, because I think this is really important. And don't worry, we're near the demos. We're moving to the demos because that's what you want to see. But the first one to think about is actually bias and fairness. AI systems reflect biases of the training. So basically, the people who have trained it. The chatbot models are trained over a vast published data sets and reflect actually some of the societal biases around race, gender, culture, and more. Biased AI systems could lead to unequal experiences, such as getting different types of recommendations and responses. And this is why we need to make sure that everyone is part of the conversation when we are using AI and developing it. Like any new technology development, AI needs to be evaluated for those potential biases. Now, the other one is misinformation. Yes, it can give you misinformation. And that's why it's very important. As Conrad said, you are the boss. Like, I would double check what is outputted from AI. I wouldn't just send that straight away. I would go through and quality check that. And that's where I'd bring something about the human in the loop. So essentially, the human in the loop is you. So you put the prompt in, you get the result, you evaluate it. If it's not great, then you prompt it again. So just make sure that you are double checking that. And then the last one I want to talk about is hallucination. And this is why it's really important, the content that you put into your when you're chatting with an AI bot, is if you put garbage in, you will get garbage out. So say for example, if I just put a one liner, write me an email, guess what? The AI is going to write you an email. They're getting better now, but an email about what? So you have to be very specific about what you are talking about or what you want it to do. And this will avoid hallucinations essentially. So let's just go back to, we're going to go on to the next slide here. And this is a quick overview of some AI chatbots. So a lot of them, hopefully you would have seen, used, and heard about. So a famous one is obviously ChatGPT, and you've got Google Gemini as well, and you've got Claude, and you've got Microsoft's Copilot. Now, for the purpose of this webinar, we're not focusing specifically on any one. The ones that we probably will highlight is we'll go between ChatGPT and Google Gemini. But remember, what we're showing you here can be used in any chatbot. And what I would say here, you see the pricing at the bottom. I'm just going to actually just zoom in there. You'll see the pricing. You do not have to pay to get started with AI. You can actually use a lot of the free tiers as well. So just make sure that you're not going away with excitement if you want to and signing up and paying monthly. There are some more advanced features, but most of them have the free tier that you can use as well. Okay.
Lawrence, what I would say is to everyone is do go down the free path first. And when you think you've start reaching your limit and you want to be more creative, then you can start explore that paid version in this case. But you can do a lot in the paid version across all these tools.
Absolutely. So let's move from the practical onto the theory. Okay. So when can you use AI? I might have mentioned earlier, writing and replying to emails. You could use it for planning and organizing events, as I've mentioned. Like I use it regularly for planning my weekly meals or my gym workout as well. It's really handy. I'm not saying it's going to replace a personal trainer, but it's cheaper and I can deal with that. So that's fine. Um, and then it's really good at learning anything very quickly. Okay. But the question is, how do we get there? But we've just given you a quick overview. And what I would love for you to do in the chat is just think about what we said here. Even if you haven't used it, what is one way or one task that could potentially be taken off your plate? Just 2 minutes to do that, and just write in the chat of one thing you might use at the end of the day of one task that could be useful for using the chat on the right hand side. I know all of you know where it is because I've seen the messages already.
Yeah, don't be shy now, people. Just give us one thing there, right? One thing that you would like, you think you want to take one task off your plate for today. Let's have a look.
I mean, Conrad, what is one way
While we're waiting for one of those, I can tell you one of the things that I've used AI creatively recently to do. I was going on holiday, in this case, and I thought to myself, how can I use AI to actually tell me I need some new clothes to go to on holiday? And I think, oh, what can I use AI? So what I did with chat, I did it in ChatGPT just to put it out there. I actually gave it some garments that I liked in this case for pictures. I gave it my height, my body figures in this case. And I said, tell me, I gave it some stores to say, these are the stores in the high street. Please go and find me some items. But I actually said, I want to know the price, make sure it's in stock, and actually make sure to give me the number also of the item. And guess what? It gave me a mood board with all the items in the table. And what I then did, I actually went down to the store, walk around those ones that I could not find. I actually gave the assistant the product number, and I can tell you, I did actually got all the garments that it actually suggested. The only thing I make sure explicitly indicated, make sure the item is not out of stock when you give me the list. But I can tell you it works. And one more thing, I did set it a budget.
There we go. See, that's what we're talking about. We've seen Frank also, who said that he would use it to remind him to drink water every hour. I'm interested in that, and there's actually a new function in that, but I won't go into detail on that. I've used it on a number of things. So, like, even just from a personal one, like Conrad, I'm going through at the moment. I'm going through the testing twos. So I actually put into ChatGPT like how to deal with the testing twos. I didn't agree with all of it. And also some of it is like, hey, I'm a Nigerian. We'll deal with it this way. But yeah, I've used it to construct covering letters that provide a good starting point. So I love that. a good starting point. So it isn't saying I've used it just to create the cover letter, a starting point so I can go in and edit. So let's go into the next bit as well. Okay.
Now this is the magic ingredients.
Yes, this is the bit. This is where we start to demo and we'll jump out of the presentation. So, but let's start thinking about how do I start to interact with a chatbot, okay? So how do we actually do this? It's called a prompt. So you will hear a lot of people mention prompt, and essentially that's what you write into the text box and telling the item what to do, the chat bot to what to do essentially. And the most important rule of the day is this: the quality of your prompt determines what you get out. As Conrad mentioned, you're the boss. So if you put garbage in, you will get garbage out. I often hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's not that great. It's not giving me what it wants." It comes down to actually how you're prompting. And we're just going to go through this now. Okay. So let's just look at this one. How are prompts written? So this is essentially how I think most people will start off with interacting with a chatbot. They would write a simple prompt like this: create a meal and workout plan to help me lose weight. Okay. Now, it's a good starting point, but that bit will not personalize it to you. Like, for example, we haven't said anything about our age. We haven't said anything about the type of foods we don't like. So it's just going to come up with something very random for you. What I want to introduce is a framework for prompting. So let's have a look at that framework. The first one that comes up is the persona. Okay. Act as a personal trainer, assistant, and nutrition coach. So I've told the chatbot to act in this model. This is who I want you to assume. The next bit I would then do is the task. Okay. What is the task? So for the purpose of this, I've said create a 7-day meal plan and workout. Now, this is where we give more information. I'm going to be very specific here. Okay. I'm giving it the context. So we've got persona, task, and context. The context here is now me saying, for a 38-year-old male, currently weighing 94 kg, whoops, I'm not talking about myself here. I don't weigh 94 kg, but I'm aiming to lose weight over the next 6 weeks. And I shop at Tesco, because that's where I go to. So I can actually be as specific as that, and it will start to look for items from Tesco. I prefer simple meals with minimal prep time. Also, I don't like wheat. And I only have 30 minutes max to cook for each day. So there's my context. Do you see how we've developed that prompt and we've made it really, focused? And then what I've also said is, how do I want it? So we're introducing format. How do I want it to be outputted to me? I could say in bullet points, I could say in a table, but I've said present meals and workouts in a table format, broken down by day. Include 3 meals and 1 snack per day and a short 45-minute workout in the gym. So look at that detail I've given. So when we put it all together, we get this. Now, I know that is a long prompt. And one of the things you can do is actually talk to the different chatbots by using voice chat. That will speed that up as well. So putting this all together, I've got my persona, task, context, and format. So breaking that down, let's go and see what it can actually do. So just bear with me a moment as I switch to a live demo. And what we're going to do here is I'm just going to bring this on over here. Just bear with me a moment. And we're actually just going to jump into Gemini. So there we are. We're in Gemini. And I'm going to go full screen here so you can get a clear idea of this. So this example here is Gemini. And just before we go into the first prompt, I just want to give you a look around on here. So just for being transparent, I have the paid version here. And there are a couple of things where I just want to show you. So in here is where I enter my prompt. So that prompt we just put together, I would just type it into there. But equally on the left-hand side up here, this is where I can start my new chats as well. And all I'm doing by accessing that is by going to gemini.google.com. Okay. Then also up here, we have the different models. So because I'm paying for it, I have the most advanced model. But again, most of the time, the free version will be able to do what you want. I would love to get into some of these items at the bottom, but just because of time, and this is the first one, I won't do so. We'll keep it very simple. And I mentioned here that I can use my microphone to put that in. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go and have a look at that prompt that I mentioned earlier, the basic prompt. So I'm just going to add this prompt in here. Okay. So just put this prompt in here. And now if we look at it, it just says create a meal and workout plan to lose weight for somebody. Now, because I've got the advanced one, it might come back and ask me questions, but let's just hit return. And then what you will see that is happening here is it's giving me a 4-week one. But do you see what it's done here? It's hallucinated. It started to add stuff in here that I didn't tell it. So it says 4 weeks. Who says I'm going to lose weight that quickly in 4 weeks? So this is the bit where I have to give it the context, okay? And look, it's a long list as well. I don't like the outputs as well. So, but again, it's not that bad. It's a good starting point. But like I said, I think we can improve on that. So what I'm going to do is go to the left-hand side, click a new chat, and I'm just going to get rid of that because I don't want to do an image yet. And this time, I'm going to put my more detailed prompt in. So just come back here.
And while Lawrence is pasting that in, I just would like to say one of the good thing about this is you can talk to it just like you're having a normal conversation in this case. So that's one of the fantastic things.
Absolutely. So this is my more detailed prompt. So the one that we had from earlier. So all I'm simply going to do is hit return. And it will have a think about it. And you've noticed, because I've set it to be in a table, it's come up with something a lot more detailed. Okay. It's giving me key considerations of drinking 2 to 3 liters. Frank, that will help you. But if I go down and look at this now, it's now put it into a table as I said to it as well. It's got the consideration that I don't like wheat as well. So it's got the breakfast, scrambled eggs and spinach. And this is all from Tesco. I could have said create a hyperlink so I can just click on the links to go and get it as well. So there we go. It's even telling me again for day 3, gluten-free oats as well. So do you see the difference in the quality that we can do here? And I'm going to show you this one. This is actually really handy. I might not like the output for this. So what I can do in the top right is I can click on create. And then I'm going to just click on create a web page, and it can create a web page for me. If I prefer an audio overview, it can do that too, or even a quiz. But I'm just going to hit create a website. And now in the background, it will start doing that. What I'm going to do is, just because that's working off in the background, is that I'm going to go and open up a new tab and show another example for you. So while that's just working in the background, I want to talk about a PDF. So say, for example, I've got a PDF that's quite complicated or has a lot of information. I have another option I can do. And I'm going to add a prompt in as well on this one. And this one is going to act as this. So let me just zoom in there for you. So I'm saying, act as a financial guide for self-employed UK workers. Read this PDF and summarize the 5 most important things I need to know when completing my self-assessment tax return. Keep it clear and use plain English. Give me real life examples if needed. So I've downloaded that PDF, and I'm just going to zoom out, and I'm going to click on upload files. I'm just going to go and find that PDF now. And I just need to, there we go. I've got that PDF here. So I've uploaded that PDF. You can see that being uploaded. And this is for the self-assessment. It's the self-assessment form that you have to do in the UK if you are self-employed. I'm just going to hit return. So if I needed some help, instead of me phoning around, doing loads of Googles, here's what it does. It analyzes that document. Okay. Here are the 5 important things about self-assessment UK workers. So understanding your filing deadlines and penalties, know when to complete self-employment page. And then it gives me some examples. Keep records. Don't send unrequested documents. And be aware of trading income allowance as well. And it's giving me an example here. So say if I was an example here, if you have 500 from self-employment and 800 from miscellaneous incomes, a total of 1,300, you might apply for the 500 allowance to your self-employment. So it even gives you a bit of advice there. Just remembering this isn't an accountant. Always double check it. A caveat there. And what I can do is I can have follow-up questions as well. So say, for example, I wanted more information. I wouldn't have to start a new chat. All I would simply do is in this same chat space, is just ask another question. So say, for example, I wanted to explain point 3. I can say someone earning 30,000 a year with a side hustle. So I can interact and ask a range of different questions. So there we go. However, document says if you receive a paper return based on a self-assessment. So it gives that breakdown. And then it gives me an option. Let's imagine an example, not directly to this document, is it works it through with me as well. So again, you can have that conversation. You could even go back and say, I don't really understand this. Could you break this down even further? And what I do like about Gemini is that it gives you the sources as well. So it's getting this source from the PDF that I had uploaded. And imagine like all those massive PDFs that you get and you're writing a book, writing an essay or something, and you just want key bits from it. So I'm going to hopefully go and see if my website is ready. So before I hand back to Conrad to do his demos, and yes, my website has been created. So remember that simple text input that we had put? It's now actually put this into a website for me. So it's a lot easier to have a look at. So I can click on day 2 and there we go. And I don't create websites. That's just something simple that I've been able to do from a text prompt. What did you think of that before I bring Conrad on? Any questions about that? Is it something you'd potentially use?
I think that's fantastic in terms of how quickly you can create something just from a prompt. So that is fantastic in terms of, and think about the time saved in this case. That's the main thing there.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And I think I did all of that in literally, I think seven minutes, I would say. Conrad, I'll let you do your demos. If you could share on your screen so we can see your demos.
Yeah. So
there we go. I'm going to add Conrad's to the screen. And just remember, while this might be, it's a lot of content to take, you can watch this on replay on the same link. So you'll be able to go through this at your own pace as well. So Conrad, just hand it over to you now.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much. Bring my screen.
There we go.
Thank you. What I'm going to do, as we said, we're going to show you a few tools in this case. Lawrence has actually just showed you the Gemini. I'm going to take you over to the ChatGPT in this case, just to show you some of those things. And again, you can do the, I'm in the paid version here, but what I'm showing you can do the free version. Once you've signed in, that's the main thing there. You can actually do certain things in the free version without signing, but most of the things that you want to do creatively, you've got to have a sign in. But yes, you can sign in and it's free in this case. And again, as you can see at the very top, similar to Lawrence, on the left-hand side, I've got new chats and you've got other features. You've got also the different models. I'm using GPT 4.0. And let's just say, similar to Lawrence, I'm going to show you that the tool will give you the same thing. Let's just say I'm complaining to the council about loads of potholes in my street. And depending on where you live, you might have a few potholes in this case. Now, I'm just going to copy my text in And I'm saying act as a clear, concise writing assistant. Write an email complaining about the pothole in my street. If you notice, I'm still using the prompt analogy, which act as what you want them to do, and then some context and some role. And if you notice here, what I'll do here is simple. In the interface, you do have the same things. I could add files in, so I could add files or photos. I've got the tools similar in terms of I create an image, search the web, write a code, deep research, and over to the right-hand side, as you can see there, I can dictate for accessibility. But in this case, I'm just going to say submit. And what that will do now, that would go off basically, and actually, depending on the speed of my internet, I'm hoping it is very quick. And there we go. It's actually written my complaint for me, as you can see there. Subject, etc. there. Now, if I was more specific in highlighting who it should be addressed to, it will actually insert that bit for me. But as you can see, it's a very precise. It's got key concerns, bullet point. Now, you're probably wondering why it says bullet point in this case. That's because I've asked it to use bullet points there. So this is where you're giving it key information along there. So it's giving me bullet points, and then it starts off there. Now, one of the great thing about this is, as you can see there, I could copy this and paste in my email along there. But I can also do these things in terms of share along there. And you can also, if you want to, for accessibility, you can read it out just so that you can hear it first to see how it sounds before you do anything. But as always, please double check when it comes to these tools for anything going forward along there. You could actually add other things in terms of please avoid using certain words, X, Y, Z, in terms of making it very clear. Okay, now one of the things I want to talk to you about in terms of using these tools, when you're doing it, don't go using the same chat for different activities because you will confuse the AI basically. So I would always recommend you start a new chat if it's something that you do want to do differently. Now, let's say I want to be creative, okay? One of the things, as we mentioned at the start of this, ChatGPT can actually create images. Other tools that Lawrence just shown can create website and tools. Now, as you can see there, I'm saying act as a graphic designer, create me an image, getting started with AI, colorful basically, splash background. Let's see what that gives us basically. So normally this will take a few seconds because it's actually going to be creating the image for you in this case. So that's what that normal happens along there. So I'll actually let that run and I won't actually hold up time in this case. So what ChatGPT does when you're done to come to create the image, it will start and take a few seconds to actually create that image. But while we're doing that, I'll move on to something else and I'll come back. Well, actually, it's going quite fast for me there, so I probably think I'll stop there. But can you see there? Getting started with AI, and I've said use fluid colors and all of those. Look, there we go. That's all from a prompt. And you know what it is? You can actually take these things. Now, one of the things that we're going to share with you later, it's 80 different ways of how you can actually create images, basically. You're probably wondering, how does it know to do that? The reason why it's because I've given it here the creative typograph, basically. That's what tell it the type of writing it should actually do it in. And I could use the same for different images and all those, which makes it really, really impressive along there in this case. Okay, so I'm going to do one more here just to show you something. Oops, undo, and then I'm going to show you something else. So while that's doing that, one of the biggest thing about these tools is that there is something known as audios. Okay, it means you can create audios, and yes, AI can create you songs. I bet you it can. Now, this is another website. I know was going to do Gemini and ChatGPT, but I think it's only fair that I showed you that you can actually be a lot creative also, that you can create sounds. Do go and check this one out. And what you can do there, you can actually add your own song to it. And what you can do in terms of adding your own song, you can actually, let's just say I want to create something here. And please note that what you do here, it's free to create X amount of songs and you get credit on a daily basis. Now, I'm saying introduction to getting started with AI, hosted by Lawrence and Conrad. Put a little bit of a reggae vibe to it and a contemporary R&B. yes, guess what? You can actually create those special birthday songs or congratulations songs. In this case, that's one way you can go. And once you've done that, you can actually say create. And what it will do then, it will go off and actually create the song for you and have your own library in this case. So that's one thing that you can do there. And it will have it in your library once you've actually start doing that along there. So that's just one thing I did want to show while we were going back from there. Oops, let's go back into my screen. Oh yeah, is it finish my little one there? It's slowly doing it. There it is. It's basically I've created a little hippo using this, but you got to think, there we go. And as you can see, that's one prompt. How creative am I basically just by using that prompt? I think what I'm trying to show you here is how you can create your own images for posters or whatever you want to create, signs in this case, because guess what? This image that you've created here, that image is your intellectual property because that's how it works. And the good bit about it is when you hover over the image, you can actually download the image and you can insert it as any image in any documents or posters that you are creating. And that's something there that you can actually do. And as you can see there, I was that creative just by using those 2 lines of code in AI and saying exactly what I would like to do along there. So that's one thing. My audio song is actually taking a little bit longer than I anticipated. So let's wait a little sec to see if that actually generates for me. I'm going to come back to it there. My last demonstration, just to show you here, it's relating to Notebook LM. Now, I know I'm firing quite a few tools at you. Please know that we'll send you some links in terms of these tools. You probably heard of Notebook LM. And as you can see there, Notebook LM is one of Google tools that you can use to create podcasting resources or any of the tools that you want to use. For example, the first thing it does, it asks you to upload a file. So take, for example, if I go and choose a file, let me just go over here to choose one and show you. So I'm going to do the self-assessment guidance note that Lawrence actually did indicated there. Now, straight away, if you notice on the left-hand side, I've got the self-assessment tool, resources. And as you can see, I can add more resources. In other words, if you've got loads and loads of different files and you want to add information about it, different files, it means you can go from your Google Drive, your slides, you can go from links, you can go from YouTube, website, just pasting in text. And as you can see there, there's a 50 limit. In other words, you can put 50 different sources of different content. So I'm just going to paste a YouTube link here, just about the tax return as Lauren indicated earlier on. And that becomes another source. So you can have all those 50 sources here. And as you can see there, the information is there. All the information is there. I could go now and ask question about what are the key? What are the key dates for submissions? Okay, so I've got all those resources. Now, straight away, you can see there, it tells me the key date just by using those information there. It could be a website. You can paste those information in, and that will give you all of those key dates appeared right in there. And I could keep querying it to find out what are the fines that I will get basically. Do I have to submit a tax return? You can give it all those information at any one time. The last thing I want to show you as we move on here, I've clicked it already, but on the right-hand side here, we did have something known as generate a podcast. So take, for example, you've got loads of content. You want to summarize that information. You want to have it in audio where you can actually probably in your car running or something. You've got the audio version of all those content. Here it is. Google Notebook LM will actually take all that information and create a podcast for you. Yes, a podcast. And this is where you've got 2 persons actually talking about the content that you've actually just simulated. And please note that this can be anything. You can add any topics within there and it will actually curate that podcast content for you at any time along there.
Okay, thank you for that, Conrad.
Machine with my
Oh, there we go. I'm interested
being
about this song.
generated.
Did it generate?
Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna just play this little song for you, which is that it just generated. I'm hoping that my audio comes through. Here we go.
Oh, we can't hear it, Conrad. Oh, there we go.
You, you got it?
We're not
Yeah,
getting it through, but maybe we'll have to send it
the
out. But
audio.
I'm intrigued to see a reggae R&B mashup about AI and getting started with it. I'm aware
Oh,
that before.
I'm telling you, Lawrence. Yeah, yeah. We'll stop there. I'll send it definitely to you. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely, we'll share that out with you, and we'll share all the links and resources. What I just would like to say is a big thank you. I know there is a lot of content that's been given to you, and this can be watched on replay as well. But like Conrad said and Stella said, we're just getting started. This is an introduction. I'm
Yeah.
really hoping we've demystified the use of AI and actually what a powerful tool it can be from for underserved communities. I mean, just even looking at Notebook LM, the amount of stuff that you could use with it. You could, for example, if your child is going through SATs or GCSEs, you could upload a range of past exam papers to Notebook LM
That's right.
and then ask questions from that. You could ask it to break down complicated maths equations that you might need to go back. And a big one that I'm hearing is phonics, for example, because we always hear that we
Yes.
didn't do that in my day. We didn't do that in my day. So you can upload some information about phonics and actually understand what is going on there. Before you head off and before you go, please, 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 could you give us some feedback? Let us know what more you would like to see. Would you want us to go into more detail about different elements of AI as well? And we will continue to work in collaboration with the Black Leadership Group. So I'm just going to hit that link there to put in there, or you can scan the QR code if you're not on your phone. But if you are on your phone, you will have this link that will come up. And I've just put that there, and that will allow you to give us feedback because we're very keen to improve. We have another webinar next week, but that's more targeted at parents and how AI is going to be interacting with your young people as well, and how to have those conversations. So I want to say a big thank you to everyone that's attended and taken some time for our evening. If you're based in the UK, please go out, enjoy the rest of the sun. And Rosemary, we know you get the sun all the time, so I won't say that to you. I'm a bit jealous, but all good. But no, a big thank you. And again, please do give us some feedback, and we're around for any questions you may have. Please use the chat to ask any questions.
Yeah, and please do go and explore Gemini, ChatGPT, Udio, Notebook LM. Do explore, and as Lauren says, if you want us to deep dive into further of these tools, do complete that feedback and let us know.
We'll give it a couple of minutes for questions, and
Yeah.
I'm just going to bring Stella. Stella, do you want to say anything before we go? If you give me a nod or a shake of the head, I'll bring you onto stage. Yes, I think that's a nod. So we're just going to bring Stella back onto stage while we're seeing if there's any questions that are coming in. Hi, Stella.
Hi. Hi, Lawrence. Hi, Conrad. I just wanted to say thank you both. You are just absolutely wonderful brothers to me. Just love the work that we are doing together. And just to reiterate, this is just the beginning. We're just getting started. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you, Stella. And it's always a pleasure to work with you, and anything we can do to support, me and Conrad will do. So I don't think we've got any questions coming in. Thank you for the compliments. Again, please do fill it in that feedback form. It again allows us to be better at what we are doing as well. And on that note, have a great evening.
Likewise. Take care,
Oh,
everyone. Thank you
actually,
very much.
we just got a question. You just beat us in there.
All
We've got a
right.
question. We've got a question.
Which AI tool
Oh,
should we
that's a
start with?
compliment.
There are so many to choose from.
Yes.
You know,
So go on, Conrad. I'll let you tackle that one first.
yeah, I would say it depends on what you want to do. If you want to explore, I would say go to Gemini in this case, and start exploring there. And remember, these tools will roughly use the same analogy to give you the results, but they give you sometimes slightly different results. So start with Gemini, and if you like what Gemini does, go a bit further. But also use the same prompt and put into ChatGPT, and then you can see which prompt you like the most better. And from that, you can choose the platform of your choice because you think it's more conducive to what it's giving you. So that's how I would start basically. Give both platform the same prompt, and then the output go with there. But normally, I would start with Gemini and work my way down.
Thank you, Conrad. What I would just add to that is, what is the task that you are trying to achieve? I think in terms of using quite an array of AI products, I think I use them differently for different tasks. So I feel Gemini writes more human-like. I think ChatGPT can be a bit robotic. But like Conrad said, all of them have free tiers. So actually explore, play around with it. And me and Conrad don't use the same ones all the time. So you will find your personal preference. But I do believe there can be overload as well. So I think, as Conrad said, maybe just start with one, play about with it, and then go and explore another one. Really learn. I think the most important thing is what we mentioned was the prompting. If you can get really good prompts, and we'll send a follow-up video and we'll send the prompt guide as well. I forgot to mention that free gift where we're going to be giving you some prompts to get you started, is work through
Yeah.
those, and then you will get a better idea. Um, the more you do, the better you will get as well. But I'm wary of time, and I'm gonna end it on that bit. I'm just gonna put this
Yeah.
back up for you, just to leave you with that. And if you haven't done so already, please do the feedback. And and different ways to keep up with us as well. So if you have different webinars going on, that's a way to follow us on social media as well. But on that note, thank you for taking part, and really hope you found it useful.
Thank you very much,
I will
everyone.
send the link out, Rosemary. The link will come out to you